that girl Henny. Y'all gotta go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
I'm just like, where did this lady come from?
Right on your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the Late Night Bar. If you are new here, please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click that notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah. Now let's get into this content. So tonight, I decided that since we are doing this series that we got going on with scandalous Tammy Cowins, I figured I have to start giving y'all some of the documents that I'm not going to be going over, okay? And one of those documents that I'm not going to be going all the way over and through is Jack Harvey, or should I say John Harvey's affidavit. Now, the reason why the thumbnail says John Harvey, or is it Jack Harvey, is because in this affidavit, it says John Harvey, but everybody calls him Jack. So I'm trying to figure out is, like I said on my IG Live, is this a case of like when somebody's name is Richard, but everybody calls him Dick? I don't know. And that was a good light pop. Shout out to all of y'all who are late night sipping with me at the bar. Hey, Hanky TV. What's popping, Heidi B? Hey, Lady T on her square biz. I know that Xavier is on that late night run, so we're gonna help get you through some of that shift you got going on. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Wilson. Hey, Jackson Jay's mommy. Hey, Odine, what you doing up this late, girl? What is you doing up late, girl? Hey, Diamond is up in here. Hey, Diamond. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, Buttercup. She said guys named John are usually nicknamed Jack too. Okay, thank you. So you've clarified that. Like I said, that was like, Richard, and they call him Dick. So yeah. But anyway, so we're going to get up into this court doc right here because I'm not going through this, okay? Hey, Dre. Dre is up in here. I got all the late night sippers coming through. All right, so let's get our watermark up here because, it's kind of scandalous out in these streets like Tammy Cowins. Let me get some different music up here. I think I want something that's a little, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's going to set the tone real nice for y'all. Oh yeah, this sounds like some what was that show with the kids? And they was fighting all them like little, I don't know what they was. They was like little sci-fi monsters. Yeah, I'm burning the midnight oil. No, I'm using my mic right here. I'm using my handheld mic. So I'm also not going to start this doc, but this is from the Terry White case. I'm not going to start the affidavit all the way up at the top. But as you can see, it says, I, John F. Harvey, do hereby depose and state that the following facts are true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Now, this is where he starts getting into how, based upon his training, he knows that drug dealers use electronic devices like fax machines, computers, cell phones, etc., etc., etc. But y'all not here for that because y'all don't care about none of that. What y'all want to hear about is old nasty Tammy Cowins. So we're going to start here with the history of the current investigation right here. All right. And as you can see, I already have some stuff highlighted, but y'all going to find out why that's highlighted later on when I tell the story on Tuesday. So let's get in. All right. So it says on April of 2028, DEA began an investigation of White in Atlanta, Georgia residence and twice convicted drug felon. Okay, financial investigation of White has revealed that since his release from federal prison in August of 2002, he has accumulated millions of dollars in cash, jewelry, clothing, automobiles, and real estate without holding any legitimate employment. Now, pause. They say in April of 2008, is when they started their investigation. But if you've been following the story, then you know for a fact that the reason why they started that investigation in 2008 is because that's when Tammy decided to do-si-do on over there and go see Jack Harvey after being sent to Jack Harvey. It says in the court docs that she was sent there by an ex-con, but we don't know. We weren't there, so we don't know what really happened. But yeah, so that's why they started their investigation. Okay. Hey, Salinas. All right, so it goes on to say that the financial investigation, which by the way was launched because Tammy went on over there and told them about him washing his money and stuff. So she gave them the whole play and rundown on that. And she gave them how he was doing it, what he was doing, and how much he was getting in the whole 9 yards. So this part right here pertains to the information that she gave to him in 2008. All right. It says the financial investigation has revealed that White and his associates had deposited in excess $1.4 million in cash into various accounts in the period from January of 2005 through March of 2009. Baby, they was all up in that man business from 05, baby, from 05. All right. White has filed tax returns which contain false information. White claims to be self-employed and owner of a beauty supply store. Really interesting. Very interesting. Now, pay attention to this part. A cooperating individual, herein referred to as CI1, began reporting to DEA in May of 2008. Now, they lie, but I'm going to tell you why they lie like that. All right, because they started their investigation after Tammy came to them, but she didn't start becoming a cooperating individual until May, which means that she reported the information. They took from April when she gave them the information to May when she became a cooperating individual. So she wasn't even a confidential informant. She was a cooperating individual, which means that she was just a person that was out here yipping and yapping and bumping her gums, giving them information and not getting a dollar. Remember that, okay? So CI1 began reporting in May of 2008 that White is a drugs trafficker who during 2006 to 2009 boasted to CI1 of his drugs prowess. According to CI1, White has stated that he would spend several hours a day on his computer tracking United Parcel Services, UPS, packages online, that because of his online work, White would know immediately if one of his UPS shipments hadn't happened to be delayed or intercepted, and that White would pay $150 for shipment of UPS crate, but would make a profit of $2,500 a week $2,500 on each kilogram of cocaine and $300 on each pound of Mary Jane that successfully made its way to Atlanta and ultimately sold by White or one of his subordinates. Now remember, when we left off from the series, him and his friend Charles Revere, they had gotten picked up by the DEA and they was arrested. Yeah, so this is what we talking about when we talking about what we talking about right here. That right there is what he told Tammy. Okay. CI1 also advised that White's regular drug stores. Oh well, I done already said it. Oh well, we 9 minutes in. If they gonna get me, they gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, CI1 also advised that White's regular drug source of supply was a Hispanic man known as Yeager. The Yeager subject has been identified by DEA as one of Edgar Herrera, date of birth 4/13/1974, an American-born convicted drug felon who is currently wanted in a second drug case on a federal arrest warrant issued out of Brownsville, Texas in January of 2008. So now she done snitched on this dude, Yedgar, who turns out to be Edgar Herrera, okay? And he got a warrant. CI1 advised that Terry would also talk drug business with Yedgar on a walkie-talkie, a device that is commonly known to drug agents as a direct connect, push-to-talk, Nextel, or boost phone. Child, she giving it all up, ain't she? She giving it all up. All of it. Okay? Now, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret that y'all going to find out on Tuesday night if they don't tell you in this part right here. Yedgar's part of the cars that tell. She's snitching on cars that tell people. Scandalous. In the course of the current DEA investigation of White, CI1 engaged in over 40 telephone conversations with White between September of 2008 and June of 2009. The conversations were recorded by DEA with the consent of CI1. In 3 of those conversations recorded on December 11th, 2008, May 1st, 2009, and May 6th of 2009, White interrupted the call with CI1 in order to speak briefly with Yeager on a second phone, his direct connect line. Because White used the speaker device on the second phone, both his voice and that of Yeager or Herrera could be heard by CI1. Baby, she listening in on the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yes, the cars that tell. I don't know if it's okay to say that out loud, so I'm just gonna play it safe. You know what I'm saying? Because, okay, so we read that part already. So yeah, CI1 could hear it and also captured on the recordings made by the DEA. So because she was capturing the phone calls, the DEA got the phone calls too. Diabolical. In the May 6, 2009 recording, White and Herrera are heard discussing an expected shipment, with Herrera saying the first thing is supposed to come in within hopefully the end of tomorrow, or before the week is over, hopefully. And White responded, all right, call me when you know something. May 6th was a Wednesday. Although both White and Herrera were believed to be frequently changing telephone numbers during the course of their drug business relationship, and they were believed to be using certain telephones to communicate only with one another, DEA did learn in March of 2009 that White was utilizing a device operating with a telephone number, and there's the number, and that the push-to-talk number assigned to that device was, there's the device push-to-talk number. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit for y'all. Let me see if I can zoom in so y'all can see. Y'all see that? Y'all can see that. Let me, right there. That's perfect. Y'all can see. So there's the push-to-talk. Although 956 is an area code for Brownsville, McAllen, and Laredo, Texas, the listed subscriber to that phone number during March of 2009 was Arango Dorotito. I might have said that wrong. At a mailing address of P.O. Box in Irvine. Is that Irvine? Irvine, California. So they had a phone number listed in Brownsville, Texas, but the person who owned the phone number was living out there in California, or they was using a P.O. box in California. That's what it was. An analysis of Sprint Nextel records revealed that White discontinued use of that phone on or about March 24th of 2009. So that was a throwaway phone. But the analysis also revealed that White, between March 10th and March 24th, used that phone to make 52 calls, of which 47 were the same direct connect number, because 62 is known to be the country code for the direct connect calls to Mexico. DEA's ability to discreetly investigate the 62*14*9778 number has been limited, and it is unknown whether the number remains active. Based on CI1's information, Tammy information, past experience, and the totality of phone records obtained during the course of this investigation, it appears likely that 62*14*9778 is the phone number that was utilized by Edgar Herrera, and that the 956 direct connect number was supplied to White by Herrera's criminal organization with instructions that White use the service only to make and receive direct connect calls to and from Herrera. Do y'all hear this? They be all up in the business. Do you hear me? Yes, Hank Churcher. Remember them calls? Where you at? Remember that? Now, in an incident that was unrelated to the ongoing DEA investigation of Terry White and accomplice Charles Revere, were arrested in Marietta Cobb's Samiran, which is the MCS narcotics agents. They were arrested by the narcotics agents on July 3rd of 2009 after taking delivery of an air compressor that was shipped to Brownsville, Texas, and was found to contain 97 gross pounds gross weight of Mary Jane. 97 pounds of marijuana. What you gonna do? Anyway, the arrest occurred at the YCR Inc., a motor freight carrier business located at 1892 Airport Industrial Park Drive in Marietta, Georgia. Okay. At the time of his arrest, White was found to be in possession of a Motorola Boost mobile phone, and then they give you the SIN number, and an iPhone, and they give you the SIN number, okay? After being read his Miranda rights, White first denied having any knowledge of the air compressor containing any Mary Jane, but later agreed to cooperate with the arresting officers, identifying the source of the marijuana as Edgar White. Terry was snitching. Did y'all pick that up? Anyway, White then used the seized Boost mobile phone to return multiple calls that had been made to it by Yedgar. In that brief conversation recorded by the MCS agents, White told Yeager that the shipment had not yet arrived, and Yeager chastised White for having left his phone unattended for several minutes without explanation. Following that phone call, the Boost phone, the iPhone, and the air compressor were secured as evidence, and White discontinued his post-arrest cooperation. I wasn't supposed to give y'all that information until tomorrow, but y'all got it today, Tuesday, which will make Tuesday a whole lot easier now. Now, this is going into how they seized Terry's computers and a BlackBerry device. And I'm going to tell you right now, it says, from previous investigation, including surveillance plus information received from CI1, DEA agents knew that the Mayfair Penthouse at Mayfair Penthouse 505 was White's principal residence at the time of his arrest and incarceration. She was given up where his locations were, all of his properties. Now, it says, among the aforementioned correspondence. Oh, wait, let me go back for a second. All right, so they brought up his penthouse, okay? And it says, by forensic analysis, Lauren George ascertained that White used the Four Seasons property as a secondary home, that he owned it outright, purchased for $350,000, and that he had no tenants or leases at the location. Your man's bought a Four Season penthouse for $350,000, And Tammy done went over there to some people and told them, hey, he over here. And he got a home over here, and a home over there, and a home over there. Okay, Blackberries are so outdated, all right? Also seized from the Mayfair residence was a copy of a letter apparently generated on a computer which reads in its entirety, "Hello, Edgar. I pray that you and your loved ones are doing well. We are interested in what you have lined up. I am sending you my number to the throwaway. Now, it is," and there goes the number, "we'll take care of the other two things you asked for when you're ready. Your friend, TW." Now pause, because we're talking about early in the 2000s. Like nowadays, we would never sit back and handwrite anything, okay? There would never be that type of carelessness that was going on. But you have to remember the time frame that we're in right now, because we are not in modernized times. Technology has not advanced that far. And so, yeah, they still doing certain things. They still doing certain things that we look back at now like, why are you doing that? No, we can't look at it like that. You got to look at it like, you know, this is back in the day. Nah, he's not in the clear, sweetheart. You still need to clean up. He got some explaining to do, because his name all in these court docs, and he needs to explain that regardless to what. All right. So it says, in support of the assertions that the Terry White letter to Edgar was produced on a computer, it should be noted that a computer keyboard and printer were observed by agents during the search of the Mayfair condominium on July 8th of 2009. And no typewriter was located inside the residence. It is also well known that in the past 25 to 30 years, typewriters have been largely replaced by word processing software installed on computers with attached printers. Another letter found at the Mayfair was removed from an envelope addressed to Terry White at the Mayfair address and postmarked in 2009, month not legible. The brief letter, unsigned, appeared to be computer generated, and it read in its entirety, "Please call me from a brand new phone. Very important, great news." A third letter, handwritten and unsigned, but addressed to White and postmarked December 6th of 2008, reads, "Call me for a new phone that you call me from a new phone that you haven't used. Thank you." So this is what they was doing. Okay, if you don't understand what's going on, let me just tell you what's going on. Hey, Steven. What's going on is they are using new telephones, throwing away these phones, these boost phones, these chirp phones, and getting new phone numbers. Okay, which was not very uncommon back in those days. You threw away the phones. Okay, you saw that on The Wire. When they knew that there was something fishy going on, or they had a phone for too long, they chucked those phone numbers out and got a brand new one. Okay, so that's what they're discussing as going on in these letters. They're sending letters back and forth to one another, telling each other what phone number to use, what chirp to use, what SIM number, and all of that. Okay, it says, in regard to the two above mentioned 01 telephone numbers, it is known that 011, I meant to say 011 up there, are the first three numbers used in international direct dialing from the United States. Okay, further, it is known that 52 is the country code for Mexico for standard telephone uses, as opposed to direct connect calls, where Mexico's country code is 62 and 868 is the area code for Matamoros. I don't know how to say that word, but which is a city in Mexico. It's the Mexican border state of Timpalapes. Listen, where is Selena so she can help me read that part? Because I don't know how to say that part, okay? The Mexico cities, you can see it on the screen. I don't know how to say those. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I don't, okay? I'm just a regular schmegular girl that's just reading these court documents. The other two letters addressed to White were seized from the Mayfair condominium, referred to enclosed chips or SIM cards to be inserted into White's cellular phone, and one of those envelopes still contained two microchips with its enclosed letter. One read, put new chip in, leave phone on, I will call you. The other, more lengthy note, was postmarked February 26, 2008 or 2009. The year was unclear, and the note reads, insert the SIM when I tell you I'm going to get a radio too. Radio communication is a lot cheaper. You will need to purchase time for your radio, $1.50 per day, with use, radio use all day long. Note, SIM card, a subscriber identity module, is a computer microchip that stores the digital data constructing a cellular telephone's memory. It is essentially the fingerprint that distinguishes one cell phone from another, and it can be found in most but not all wireless networks. A SIM card may be removed from one device and inserted into another, and thereby make the second device function as the telephone number assigned to the SIM card. So that's what they were also doing. Jakar, have you read these documents for yourself before you come over here in my comment section trying to troll? Because let's put a pause on this for a second and let's address this little comment right here. Let me explain something to you, because in one set of paperwork, this woman says that Meech didn't know. In another set of paperwork, she's saying that Meech knew. But I'm going to ask you this question. Why is Meech in Terry White's paperwork? Why? Here's one even better for you, because I always ask this question of y'all who want to say, Meech is clean, he's in the clear, da-da-da. That's cool. You have your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. But here's the thing. Explain to me why Meech never took his life rights and power of attorney back. Explain to me why this woman had an LLC in the name of EMF. Explain to me why this woman was trying to trademark BMF. Explain to me why, after Tonisha had the run-in that she had with her, and clearly the incident that she had with Tammy, where Tammy tried to get Tonisha locked up, I know Meech heard about that. And then there's Blue, who told Meech about Tammy, and that was the last time he heard from Meech. So could you please explain to me how you come to the conclusion of that? Is it possible that Tammy did all of this without Meech knowledge? It's possible, but there's no way that Meech did not know that his name was in the paperwork. And explain to me why he kept getting put in a hole when she was doing work. There's a lot of suspect things. And for me, until Meech come out and address this suspect makes everybody side-eye him. So for me, I ain't calling a man no snitch, but what I'm saying is something ain't right in the water, and it don't sit right, it don't look right, it don't smell right, and he needs to clear that up. And if he don't clear it up, that means that his silence is speaking louder than his voice should be. No stand-up, respectable, and reputable person is going to sit back and allow their name to be attached to such diabolical behavior, such treachery. The only thing he had to say to her when she went to him to tell him about all the work she had been putting in was keep his name out of it? Are you kidding? Man, listen. The people I know, let me go over there talking about I've been yipping and yapping and running my mouth to these people trying to get you some time cut. And I've been snitching on other mofos in the same profession as you and getting them locked up and taken down and all their assets snatched away from them and the whole nine. You think they still going to be associated with me? You think they still going to be fooling with me and it's going to be okay for them to sign their life rights over my life right, their life rights that are worth millions of dollars over to me? Entrusting me with the power of attorney over them, and I done showed that I'm an untrustworthy person? Okay, No, that's inaccurate. I don't know where you got that from. She told him because the indicted was going to be unsealed. The indictment wasn't. It didn't matter about. Where have you been following this story at, Jakira? I don't even know if I'm saying your name wrong, and I'm not saying that to be funny. Like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Or where are you getting this information from? Tammy went to go run and tell Meech about the fact that the paperwork was out there in the public records. Okay, let's back up. Let's fast forward for a second. Because see, I see now I got to get this whole series out. So let me break this down to you how this happened, sweetheart. Tammy, after all of the stuff that happened with Cuffy and Fidel done got set up by her. Cuffy is locked up sitting in Click Click City. Now he getting a Frank's hearing. Tammy goes online to Pacer and pulls up Cuffy's paperwork, and she sees her name and Meech's name and her affidavit and all of that up in the paperwork. Tammy starts scrambling. She go to the government and tell them like, hey, you know, this wasn't accurate. You got to take this out. She trying to backpedal everything now. Then she run to Cuff's lawyers and telling Cuff's lawyers that it ain't true. What's in them statements ain't true. Trying to get Meech's name out of it. And that came after she went to go visit Meech and tell him about the paperwork that got his name and her name in it. And what he tell her? Keep my name about that shit. Or get my name about that shit. So now she's scrambling trying to get his name up out of it, but it's too late. It's too late. Even in this Terry White case that happened before the Cuffy case, they asking Terry White about Meech. So you can, this is what I'm saying, it's suspect. She ain't telling because the indictments was going to be unsealed. The paperwork was out in the public record for everybody to see. This is how Blue got wind of that paperwork. Cuff's daughter called him and told him about Tammy. He go pull it up on a Pacer and he see it. And he says he told Meech over the phone. And Meech continued to do business with her. Okay, so you go into that paperwork. Let me see. Let me pull that paperwork up for you real quick, because I know what paperwork you're talking about. I know what paperwork you're talking about. Hold on 1 second. I know what paperwork you're talking about. You got me digging in my files right now. Yeah, I come. You talking about this paperwork? Is this the one you talking about? This is the affidavit. Is this what you talking about right here? Hold on, let me get rid of this tool real quick. This one? Because if you talking about this one, that ain't what she was telling for. I don't know where you get this theory from, but since you want me to come here, let's go here. This is from Cuffy's paperwork. You see his name on it? Okay, this is the affidavit in support of amended application for the interception of wire communication written by Task Force Officer Bud. Okay. Now, I'm going to read to y'all this part right here. Background information on conspiratorial members. Demetrius Flannery, incarcerated. In 2004, to 2005, DEA Atlanta, in conjunction with DEA Detroit, conducted an investigation in which resulted in the indictment of multiple members of Black Mafia Family BMF drug distribution organization. Included in these indictments was Demetrius Flannery, the proposed national leader of BMF DTO. Flannery was responsible for the accusations and the acquisition and distribution of 100 kilograms amounts of cocaine in, but not limited to, Detroit, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia, and to BMF members in St. Louis, Missouri. Flannery was ultimately sentenced to 30 years incarceration as a result of the indictment. Are you talking about that right there? Okay, it says CS1 has identified Suarez by name and has provided a photograph of Suarez, which has been verified during comparison with a California driver's license photograph. CS1 has not met Suarez, but has had numerous telephonic, email, and text message contacts with Suarez, which were initially arranged by Demetrius Flannery. CS1 stated that Suarez owns and operates a trucking company called FS Transport and provided the address of 2009. The same tractor trailer was stopped in Maricopa County, Arizona, being driven by a different driver. During the search of the vehicle, approximately 834 pounds of marijuana and 1 ounce of cocaine was seized from the trailer of the unit. Information obtained during the February 27, 2009 and May 28, 2009 seizures identified the tractor trailer was the same unit during both seizures, and that the unit was being operated under the name of FS Transportation, Fidel Suarez, and there's the US dot. Is that what we're talking about? Historical information provided by CS1 in August of 2012. A confidential source herein, CS1, contacted DEA to provide information on an active drug distribution conspiracy of which Dion Gatling, Fidel Suarez, and Demetrius Flannery are members. CS1 provided this information to agents with DEA Atlanta, Georgia, with whom DEA St. Louis agents have conferred on multiple occasions. In addition, DEA St. Louis agents have talked to CS1 telephonically for the full debriefing prior to submission of this affidavit in support of the Title III interception of target telephone number 1. CS1 has advised that Demetrius Flannery became an associate of Fidel Suarez while both were incarcerated. Flannery has arranged for Suarez to provide cocaine in multiple kilogram quantities to Gatlin through CS1. Due to Flannery's incarceration, Demetrius Flannery arranged the introduction of Suarez to Gatling through CS1, who is not incarcerated. During telephone and email conversations, CS1 became aware that Suarez could obtain and deliver cocaine and heroin. Through telephone conversations, Gatling told CS1 that he was interested solely in cocaine and discussed delivery of 8 to 10 kilograms. CS1 said that she has not met Gatling or Suarez in person, but has had numerous telephone and email and text message conversations with both. CS1 was provided a picture of Suarez by Suarez, which matched the California driver's license. CS1 said that Flannery arranged the drug distribution relationship and that she is supposed to be provided with a profit sharing cut or percentage payment from the sales of the cocaine. CS1 said that the sole purpose of the introduction of Gatling to Suarez was the acquisition of multiple kilogram shipments of cocaine. CS1 is aware of or how Demetrius Flannery is obtaining his portion of the proceeds from the sales of the cocaine. CS1 said that she was initially contacted by both Suarez and Gatling on her cellular phone. Shall I proceed? Y'all want me to keep reading? Henny glasses in the chat if I should keep reading. Thank you, T-Man. CS1 said that she has had contact with Suarez and Gatling through the past year, approximately August of 2011 to present. This contact was periodically, but has not been directly involved with cocaine distribution, which backs up what Cuffy told us. CS1 identified that she has not been involved in any drug transactions directly with Suarez and or Gatlin, and that initially contact with Suarez involved attempting to facilitate the introduction of Gatling to Suarez and at least one other BMF drug trafficker in Atlanta. So you mean to tell me that while everybody was locked up, there was somebody else out on the streets that they are saying was BMF? Y'all didn't really think that they grabbed everybody, did y'all? Oh, all right. Okay. CS1 said that Suarez had initially refused to come to Atlanta, Georgia to facilitate any meeting, and according to CS1, eventually had telephone conversations with Gatling outside of CS1, who was unable to identify the contents of any of the earlier conversations between Suarez and Gatling. Both Suarez and Gatling have contacted CS1 outside of drug trafficking over at least the last year. However, CS1 is aware that Suarez is traveling to St. Louis and is not in contact with Gatling from conversations with Suarez. CS1 was recently advised of a suspected cocaine shipment in St. Louis in the tractor trailer, which was destined to Gatling. Toll information and devices utilized by Gatling and Suarez indicated that they were talking regularly since at least March of 2012. Gatling began using target telephone number 1 to talk to Suarez in February 2012. CS1 said that on January 7th of 2012, Suarez contacted CS1 and advised that he was going to be traveling to St. Louis, Missouri, but did not elaborate on why he was in Missouri. Then on July 12, 2012, Suarez made contact with CS1 and advised that he was in St. Louis. CS1 refused Suarez's request to meet in St. Louis. We already know all of this because Cuffy already told us all of this, but this is being backed up by this affidavit. And my thing to you is, because we are no longer speaking about Demetrius Flannery, we are now talking about stuff that I was going to get into later. But at the end of the day, you explain to me why Meech's name is up in this paperwork, why Meech is being told, why it's being said that Meech is the one that orchestrated all of this by not just this paperwork, but by Dion Cuffy Gatling, who is the person who was the target in this investigation, who is sitting now on charges in Click Click City from the wiretaps that were placed on him. Yes, I am very much aware of what Cuffy is being accused of. I am very much aware that there was an unaliving of 2 DEA informants or people who were willing to cooperate. And I am also fully aware that there was no pow pow in his possession, that it was a ghost pow pow, because in order for them to be able to charge him with that, they have to be able to place him there. They have to be able to find him with the smoking gun, literally and figuratively. And they did not do that. But the reason why he is sitting there is because while they were listening in on his phone calls, that the wiretaps that were put on him because of this whole initiation that was done between him and Suarez that is alleged to be done by Big Meech, they picked up stuff that they weren't supposed to be picking up on. And technically his case should have been thrown out because Tammy parted her Tammy C for Agent Cromer. I'm very well versed into what is going on in these papers. I'm very, very well versed in. Oh, baby, I'm not distracted, but I will take a minute to step to the side and read some things real quick because I want some understanding. Because, see, I'm not like other people. I haven't sat back and listened to other people's videos and gathered information from them based off of their assumptions when they've half-ass read paperwork and they half-ass have information. I haven't done that. That's not me, darling. That's not me. When I say I've read through this paperwork, I haven't been going off of YouTube for no reason. I've been going off of YouTube reading this paperwork because you got to jump from person to person and case to case in order to put this whole story together. And that's what I've been doing. So if you've missed my story collaborations, Henny's docu-stories, please go back and watch the last 2 videos that I did. And please continue to stay tapped in and tuned in as I go back to reading Jack Harvey's affidavit like I was reading. And tune in for the next docu-story installment on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my loves. Because we almost there to that document. Tammy has dirt on Meech and his life rights, so he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Listen, let me tell you something. The truth shall set him free. Here's the thing that I've learned. When people have dirt on you, it's best for you to drop the dirt on yourself, because then that way you control the tone, the temperature, and the narrative. When you allow somebody to back you into a corner and use any information that they have against you, guess what that does? That gives that person power over you, over your narrative, over your movements, and over the way other people think, feel, and view you. The fact that he's not stepping up to say anything is very concerning. It's very concerning. But now back to what we was talking about with Jack Harvey's affidavit. You know, this paperwork over here that we was reading on. Yeah, we gonna get back to what we was reading on. But when somebody can answer all of those questions for me, I'll gladly. I'm here for the debate. Understand that I get aggressive because I'm from New York. We get aggressive when we passionate about things. It's never personal. This is just business for me. Are you not entertained? Anyway, so now we was already talking about how they was switching out phones and switching out SIM numbers and all that other good stuff, right? Okay, so they said another notable piece of evidence from White's Mayfair penthouse condo was a T-Mobile invoice dated June 14th of 2009 from a cellular number, and there's the number, known to have been often used by White in the spring of 2009. The invoice reflects 6 phone calls made on June 1st, 2009 to the aforementioned phone number that was over there in Mexico. With respect to hours leading up to White's July 3rd, 2009 arrest in Cobb County, a second cooperating individual, because yes, there's more than one CI that is on Terry White. A second cooperating individual, CI number 2, has advised DEA that White was in periodic contact by cellular telephone with a Hispanic male while en route to YRC Inc. And the subject of those conversations was the shipment that was expected to arrive that day at YRC. According to CI2, those contacts were made on White's Boost Mobile Direct Connect phone, which could also be described as a portable radio or walkie-talkie. Now, who would know that information? It sounds to me like me and Charles Revere might have gone ahead and flipped the script on him too and snitched him out. Okay, a third cooperating individual was interviewed by DEA in September of 2009 and provided more details concerning White's use of overnight delivery services to transport illegal drugs in the 2005 to 2008 time period. According to CI3, White dealt only in marijuana, and he could regularly arrange to receive one or two 30-pound boxes of marijuana once or twice a week, using both UPS and Federal Express to transport the contraband. CS3 advised that White preferred not to store the marijuana in Atlanta, instead delivering it immediately to buyers who had already been contacted by White. CI3 identified the source of the marijuana as Yedgar, a Mexican male who has visited Atlanta but is known to reside somewhere near the Texas-Mexico border. CI3 advised that both White and his close associate, Harry Tolbert, used computers to track the packages online after White would be notified of the package's air bill identifying number and address of some type of communication with Yeager, either phone call or email. CI1 identified White's email to be, and that was his email at the time, although it was learned during the investigation that White used a different email. On at least one occasion on August of 2006, CI3 advised that either White or Tolbert more often Tolbert would arrange to be at the destination of the package an hour or two ahead of time, then attempt to intercept the UPS or FedEx delivery driver and take delivery of the package without it ever actually reaching the listed address. According to CI3, the packages would usually be addressed to vacant units, in particular apartment complexes and the same address. Complexes and the same address would seldom be used more than once. CI3 advised that the names and addresses on the packages were often deliberately misspelled or fictitious, allowing for no link to be made to either White or Tolbert, or to any address associated with them. CI3 advised that the success of the operation depended upon the receiver's familiarity with the unwitting driver from previous delivery experience and upon the receiver's accurate recitation of the driver of the package's delivery address. CI3 advised that the system devised by White primarily depended upon timing the arrival of the package, each of which would be shipped so as to be scheduled for delivery before 10 a.m. the next morning, and the key to the proper timing to meet the driver was the online tracking done by White and Tolbert on their personal computers. Finally, CI3 advised that White would prepare packages of cash which would be inserted into UPS or FedEx provided document container and shipped for overnight delivery to Yeager to delivery address in Texas provided by Yeager. So now here we have the whole breakdown of how they moving. Thank you, T-Man. Now I'm telling you, back in the 99 and the 2000, they was using the UPS and the FedEx system to ship this stuff back and forth, honey. As you can see, and how they was getting this done, baby. This is a whole system right here. This is why they snatched up all them devices and everything. But you see, there was a CI3, and CI3 had to be an inside person who was able to give them the inner workings of everything that was going on. So you got to think about it like this. Terry wasn't even under investigation. Okay, remember, I read that to y'all in the last video. Terry was not under investigation until Tammy took herself over there to Harvey and told him about the money laundering. Once the money laundering was on the table, baby, it was nothing for them to start doing an investigation into every little thing, okay? And that's exactly what they did. And they ended up having not one, not two, but 3 CIs on Terry. And 2 of them seemed to be on the inside. Because how do they know all this information? And Tammy ain't know all of this information because Tammy wasn't on the inside like that. He just used to brag to her. He didn't start telling her anything until later on, but he was damn sure conducting stuff in front of her. Shaking my head. In regard to Terry White's email reported by CI1, the following information has been developed by the DEA, particularly through seizure of documentary evidence in the July 8th, 2009 search warrants. The email address was listed as a contact point for White on a RBM Mercedes-Benz of Atlanta invoice dated March 21st, 2009, and as recent as July 3rd, 2009. White listed the email address in the course of purchasing an airline ticket from AirTran Airways. One other document obtained by the DEA from the Georgia Secretary of State website for corporate filings list the same email address. So what they're doing is showing that this email address is something that he's been using. This is not a fictitious email address. This is a valid email address on him, okay? The Terry White Group is listed on a form signed by White dated April 14, 2009 as the name of his business, which he identified as a beauty supply store and gave the business address of 1316 Saxony Drive, Conyers, Georgia. The affiant is aware that Terry White is the owner of the residence property located at that address and that no business license has ever been issued by authorities in Rockdale County, Georgia, where the property is located for the Terry White Group, or the address there's no business address. There's no business going on there. An aerial view of the address available on Google Maps shows the address to be a residential structure within a residential neighborhood. The Rockdale County, Georgia tax assessor's website has a picture of the structure at the address, which appears to be a single-family brick home with an attached garage as well as a detached garage. Yeah. So he lying. He lying on his paperwork. He lying on stuff. Okay. So it says your affiant has also inspected the tax returns of Terry White as filed with the Georgia Department of Revenue. The Georgia Form 500 individual income tax return filed by Terry White for the years 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007. Each contained the text approved software version in the upper left corner of the first page of each return. At the bottom left of the second page of each return is the word Intuit. It's printed on each year's form. For each of these tax years, the returns are noted as self-prepared. So he was using... Child, that's why I don't do my own taxes. He was using TurboTax back then in 2009. Your affiant is aware that Intuit Inc. is the publisher of TurboTax software, which enables one to prepare both state and federal income tax returns by using a computer. One such method of preparing tax returns using TurboTax software involves an interview whereby the filer enters data or selects certain categories as questions are presented by the software. Upon completion of the interview, the data is transferred to the appropriate tax form to generate the required forms for filing a return. The preparer also has the option to save the information both for record-keeping purposes as well as tax planning and for comparison when preparing the next year's return. Based on the consecutive year computer-generated forms filed by White, your affiant has reason to believe that the relevant return information and other evidence of money laundering by engaging in conduct constituting violations of section 7201 and 7206 of the IRS Code of 1986 will be found on the seized computers. So he is here falsifying his tax returns. And I'm going to read this part right here. The credibility of CIs 1, 2, and 3. The aforementioned CI 1 has no criminal record and has known Terry White for the past 3 to 4 years. So this is how I know that she has been seeing Terry White since 2006, because that's 3. And if she was seeing him back in 2005, then that would be 4 years. So between 2005 and 2006 is when she started dating Terry White. Okay? That's how I was able to give you that information prior in them other 2 videos, because I read that in this document and we hadn't even got to this document yet. Okay? CI1 has established a strong record of credibility and reliability during the course of this investigation, as information divulged by White during recorded telephone calls with CI1 was found to be very consistent with information about White previously related to DEA by CS1. Okay, the aforementioned CS number 2 and 3, both convicted felons, have known White for 20 years. So they like Meeches to Terry. CI 2 and 3 did separately provide DEA with detailed information that corroborated by DEA during the course of this investigation. Now, that is where I'm going to stop this reading of this court document right here, because at this point in time, all the information that needed to be said about Jack Harvey and this affidavit has been said. So now there y'all have it. Okay, when I go to bring y'all the second part of this series, y'all are already going to be up to date and up to speed on what it is that Jack Harvey had to say. So now y'all have already heard how Tammy took him down and how she also had help, because there was CIs number 2 and 3 who were friends with Terry for 20 years. 20 years. And they decided to turn informant on him. Dirty game. Dirty game. But as y'all also heard, Terry was providing information about Yedgar. Ciao. But keep in mind, none of this would have ever been started or put into play had Tammy never opened her mouth. Now, remember what I told y'all in the beginning when we started talking about Terry. Because I also know that there's a rumor out there that people are saying that Tammy caught Terry with another woman, and so that's why she decided to call the DEA. But how is that the case when she knew that he had a common law wife and other females, and Terry would talk to her about the problems he was having with them other females? Yeah, no, that's not what it was. That's not what it was. Should I tell y'all what it was, or should I make y'all wait until Tuesday? I think y'all gonna have to wait till Tuesday when I give y'all the whole story. Because remember, I asked y'all, what did Terry do? Maybe y'all gonna find out what Terry did. Or what it allegedly could have been. I want to thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with me on this late night pour up. I feel Jack Harvey played a deeper role in this, and there is paperwork missing to protect crooked feds. Listen, I want to know what the situation was between Tammy and Jack Harvey, because why is Jack Harvey like sticking up for her? Why is Jack Harvey, still communicating with her even after this case was over? He was still in communications with her. I know y'all have heard all about the Cuffy and Fidel Suarez, and y'all even heard about Keith Cromer. And yes, I'm still going to give y'all that information. I may not be as detailed, only because there's been so much information already put out there. So I don't want to keep repeating stuff and beating people over the head. But I already see where people are going with them seeing how I'm doing this docuseries. People know what's coming up next, so they trying to jump ahead of me and release information. And you can't kill the content, honey, because I'm telling a whole story. I'm giving y'all the whole theatrics and the whole shebang. But this was what Jack Harvey wrote in his affidavit in the Terry White case, and what he had to say about all the involvement that Tammy had and the involvement of the other two CIs as well. So if y'all were here from the beginning to now, thank y'all for tapping in and sticking in with your girl. If you just got here and you gonna have to replay it, I thank you for tapping in whenever you tapped in. Replay gang, run this thing up. Y'all know what to do. And y'all know what I always say. When y'all rest, rest well. And I will see y'all in the next one. I love y'all. Peace, y'all. Be sure to hit that like button on the way out and throw them Henny glasses. Bye.